I'm going to talk today about a tool in Canvas called Ally, which some people have had turned on, but not everyone, not all faculty yet. And basically, this has come out of a larger initiative here at Yale to make websites accessible. This policy that Yale published about a year ago is really geared towards making sure that all university websites are accessible for people with disabilities. And what a lot of faculty and staff haven't really been cued into yet is that this also covers materials in Canvas. So you can imagine in Canvas, every instructor, there are a lot of materials in their course sites which may not be fully accessible to students with disabilities. And we're really trying to shift the landscape so that those materials enter the Canvas system more accessible. You can think of like PDFs and Word docs and videos and Google slide presentations. Just about anything you ask your students to look at could potentially present a barrier for a student with a disability who needs to be able to use different technologies to access those materials. And even within those materials, there are like smaller elements. So we could just keep breaking it down to like, okay, I have a reading, but it's got images. I have a presentation that's got text and a video player and a bunch of different elements. So how would a student who has a disability access those materials? That's what Ally helps us with, so I'm going to talk about that today. Usually when I give this talk or I present to people, the first question is, I don't really understand what accessibility even means. For the purposes of Ally, today we're really talking about materials that need to be read by screen readers or text-to-speech technology. So faculty sometimes will say, well, I don't have any students who use screen readers because in their minds, the primary audience for that are people who are blind or low vision, who might need to use a screen reader. But at Yale especially, that's definitely not the largest users of screen reading technology. Here, a lot of students with dyslexia will use screen readers. So you can imagine if you have dyslexia and you have a hard time following the words because they're bouncing on the page, they're bleeding together, it can be really helpful to listen to your readings instead of having to read them visually with your eyes. So the Resource Office on Disabilities will often suggest some pretty easily operable screen readers and text-to-speech technologies so students can use those to read their course documents. Same for attention disorders. Again, sometimes it can be easier just to listen. Some students prefer that, or to listen while you're reading visually. Migraines, concussions. There are about 100 students a year who come through Yale who are diagnosed with a concussion. And if any of you have ever taught a class where you had a student who suddenly had a concussion and was told not to look at a screen for any period of time, that can be very, very, very detrimental to their semester. I've seen students who just for weeks have been told not to do their readings, and that can be impossible. So to keep up with their course materials, the Resource Office will often give them, again, a pretty easily operable screen reader so that they can lay on their dorm in their residential college on the couch in the dark and listen to their readings. Multilingual students will use screen readers. There are a lot of students, international students especially, who may not have learned English by reading it. They may have learned it first by speaking it, and it can be useful for them to have their text read along while they're reading, just to help them shore up on their English language skills. And then, right, so that's for documents. And then as far as media goes, really we're talking about adding captionings for your videos for deaf and hard of hearing students, and using audio descriptions for blind and low vision viewers as well. So I can talk about all of this stuff at great length. I mean, there's so many elements that go into making a course accessible that they've created a position for this. Today, I'm really just going to talk about Ally and what that does in Canvas to help make your materials more inclusive. So really, if you're thinking, okay, that's a lot of stuff to think about, where should I start? PDFs, number one thing we see in Canvas that can present the biggest barrier to someone who's using a screen reader. They need to be OCR'd, which stands for optical character recognition, and basically that means your PDF goes from a picture that a screen reader can't read to a series of text and words that a screen reader can read. And also in Canvas, your images should really have alt text and image descriptions, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Ally is the tool. You can see this is the term accessibility, which shorthand is A11Y for the 11 letters between the A and the Y, and that's where they get the term ally. So not only is it an ally, it's also clever. So I'm going to pull up. So I have a course that I've designed. This is, anybody in this room can join this course. It's very intro to Canvas course accessibility and covers a lot of stuff. But what I want to show you today is, oh, I'm not logged into this. I need to be logged in. Don't mind me. That's Brian's. Brian, how do I log out? Here we go. Sorry, I'll log into mine. Bear with me. Nope. Is it just going to keep auto-logging me in? Sorry, guys.
Can you launch Safari?
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Good idea. Great, thank you. I need to change my password, don't tell you. How many of you do this? Okay, good, thanks, not just me. All right, this is my Canvas instance. Right, what I need to show you is the files. So in the files section, every single time, what Ally does is basically it's going to give you an accessibility score for all of your materials. So that can be very daunting if you upload a bunch of PDFs and you realize I have a bunch of red dials, I'm failing miserably at accessibility. Don't worry, there are ways to fix it, and that's what's so great about this tool. When you click on a score, it will tell you the primary reason why that document's failed. So you can see here, I have a PDF, and it says this PDF is scanned, which means basically it's an image and it hasn't gone through that OCR process I mentioned. I have that same document here. Basically, another way you can tell that something has not been OCR'd is if you try to select any of the text, it doesn't let you select the actual words. So here we have a PDF that is not OCR'd, and that means the student will not be able to use a screen reader to read it. The option is here to download an alternative format, which will give you an OCR'd PDF. So students can see that. They have that option, as well as instructors. You click download, it will download. I didn't take chances with that, so I do have the version here. And this is what happens. You can see it presents a much cleaner version that now the text can be selected, and so a student using a screen reader can listen to the document. That's one of the many, many, many cool things that Ally does that I wanted to show you today. You can also really just kind of get a sense of your own materials and the accessibility health of your course by looking through those dials, which I think is helpful. There's also other things that it will actually scan. One of those is images. So if I wanted to add an image, say you're building your course syllabus and you want to add an image, there's an option there for you to add alt text. So whenever you upload a photo, it will give you the option to do that as well. I have a photo somewhere in here. Yeah, I'm looking. There we go. I have this nice picture of this cat. Can I fit that in the files? No. That's a very popular cat. I think I need to actually add it to my file section first. There we go. Hamilton, open, upload. And now if I wanted to add that file, you can add the alt text there. So I could say photo or image of mustached cat, whatever it is. You can imagine in Hamilton. If it was decorative, if you just have an image that you don't really need to have described, you could also have the option here to mark it as decorative. You put update. Here I have added it. I'll update my syllabus. And now you'll see that my little photo of Hamilton is there. And if someone using a screen reader were to come across that image, it would announce whatever that alt text is in the process of them encountering it in the reading. Now, if it's a chart or a graph or something like that, it's a little bit more complicated. You can also add the alt text. It can be really useful to summarize the main points of a graph or a chart. I think we overestimate the amount of time students spend on reading graphs and charts. That information can be there for someone who might have a cognitive disability who's using a screen reader, and it helps clarify for them. If someone's low vision and they're using a screen reader, you may think, well, they can probably see it. It may be that the size of the font or the way that the graph or chart is constructed is just too small for them really to be able to have a good sense of it. So that also will give you a little score. It'll say perfect. It should say PURRFECT. And yeah, there's quite a bit of other things that you could do to make your courses more accessible, but Ally is truly the step that I think the university is taking for the time being on putting some of that responsibility back on us so that students don't need to wait, request materials, all the things that they do when they have accommodations that can take time, or they may not want faculty to know in the first place that they have a disability. Yeah?
Does it work for other languages?
Yes.
Oh, good. So just a point of clarification. So Ally would convert a scanned document, or do I have to provide the new version?
No. So you would have to re-upload. So you could download the OSAR version and then re-upload it. Yeah.
It doesn't do it for you. You still have to provide.
Right. You still have to.
Is there any other way for faculty who have, say, 100 of scanned articles
Yes.
from 5 years ago
Yes.
to convert?
Yes,
them?
you can batch OCR documents using Acrobat Pro, which is not a Canvas tool, but I can show you how to do that. I'd be more than happy to meet with any one of you to talk about how to make all your course materials.
Just post it somewhere on Canvas, and that way you won't have to.
Oh yeah. There, I have a video. I've got all kinds of different things. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be here afterwards. You can ask me questions. I have handouts. I have business cards. We can talk. Other questions? No? All right, thanks.